Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're taking a deep dive into Web 3.0.
Ah, yes. The next big thing.
You know, the one that everyone's been talking about and our
Yeah.
listeners sent in, well, a ton of articles and research notes on Web 3.0, especially curious about how it all connects to, health and well-being.
Right.
And I gotta say, looking through this stuff, some of this is pretty wild.
I'm excited to dig in.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
it's a pretty big shift from, how we're using the internet now
Right.
to where it's evolving to.
So, I mean, we're talking about moving away from just interacting with information on a screen
Yeah.
towards a world where the digital and physical are, I don't know, they're blended somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, you're immersed in it.
Right. Immersed.
Yeah, more immersed. So this is what they're calling the spatial web, right?
Right.
It's not just websites anymore, but it's data and it's experiences, and it's all kind of woven into our actual surroundings.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to even wrap your head around.
So the sources that you sent, they describe it as a convergence of a bunch of different technologies,
Okay.
AI, of course, but
Okay.
but also VR and AR, which we're more familiar with.
Right.
But also the Internet of Things, robotics, even blockchain is in the mix.
So, hold on. It's not just that I'm wearing like AR glasses
Right.
and seeing like information pop up, but it's that my refrigerator is
Oh.
talking to my glasses, which are talking to some AI, which is then recommending a recipe based on what's in my fridge
Yeah.
and what my fitness tracker says I need.
Yeah,
Like that's
it.
oh my God.
And let's not forget about those digital twins everyone's been talking about.
Right, right.
Imagine a digital replica of your organs
Oh, wow.
that doctors can use for surgical planning or personalized treatments.
Okay, now that's both incredibly cool and
Yeah.
kind of creepy at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can definitely see the potential for healthcare.
Hmm.
Like you said, like, are there... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, there's a really interesting section on remote AR healthcare.
Okay.
So imagine a doctor in New York
Okay.
guiding a paramedic in, say, rural Alaska
Wow.
through a complex procedure using augmented reality.
Okay.
They can see what the paramedic sees, provide real-time guidance, even overlay anatomical diagrams onto the patient's body.
Oh, okay. Now that is just straight out of Star Trek. I mean, that is
Yeah.
incredible. It really makes you realize just how much the spatial web could, like, change things. But I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface here, right?
Yeah, we are. We're just getting started.
There's, like, a whole philosophical side to this, too.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
One of the most fascinating aspects of Web 3.0
Yeah.
is how it demands that we consider our bodies, not just our minds.
Mm-hmm.
It's this idea of embodied intelligence
Okay.
that keeps coming up in your notes.
So it's not just what we think, but how our physical selves experience
Yeah.
this new reality.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not just sitting at a desk clicking a mouse anymore. We're in the internet somehow.
It's more like the internet is layered onto our world.
Okay, lay it on. Okay.
Right, and that's where bodily self-consciousness comes in.
Okay.
It's that feeling of being anchored in our physical bodies.
Right.
Knowing where our limbs are, experiencing the world through our senses.
I mean, something we usually just take for granted.
It's that.
But if this spatial layer is so convincing,
Yeah.
does that mess with how we perceive our own bodies?
That's exactly the question researchers are grappling with.
Yeah.
Your sources mentioned some pretty trippy examples like somatoparaphrenia, where people they deny that a limb is theirs.
Whoa.
Now imagine experiencing something similar in the spatial web where the lines between physical and digital are blurred.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. That is
It's pretty wild.
That is pretty trippy.
Yeah.
So if our brain is getting all this new input,
Right.
It's got to figure out what's real,
Right.
what's virtual, and how to even make sense of it all. I can see where this goes beyond just tech and into like, existential stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about adapting to new technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's potentially about adapting
Right.
our very understanding
Yeah.
of what it means to be.
Wow.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Let's first explore how all of this information
Yeah.
could impact us mentally.
All right. Okay, so we've got digital twins of our organs and doctors performing surgery remotely and our brains potentially freaking out about what's real and what's not. But isn't there a risk of just drowning in information?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a crucial point, and your sources actually talk about that. It's not just about more information, it's about how we process it.
Okay.
They use this term synergetic intelligence.
Synergetic intelligence.
Basically, how smoothly we use our different cognitive skills
Okay.
to learn and solve problems in these complex environments.
So it's like multitasking on steroids.
Yeah, kinda.
But I mean, we're already bombarded with notifications and updates and everything. How is this going to be any different?
Well, think of it this way. Right now, you might passively scroll through social media or get distracted by clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine, you're navigating a busy street with AR glasses feeding you live info, drones are whizzing by, personalized ads are popping up based on where you look up.
Mm-hmm.
To function in that environment, you'll need to be super sharp about what you pay attention to,
Right.
make decisions quickly,
Yeah.
and adapt to unexpected changes.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about being like a tech whiz.
Right.
It's about like being mentally mentally agile.
Exactly. Yeah, mental fitness.
Mental fitness. Okay.
Yeah, and the research actually outlines
Okay.
6 key cognitive domains.
Okay.
Attention, intention, evocation,
Okay.
refinement, engagement, and evaluation.
Whoa. Hold on. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't let the fancy terms scare you. We're already using these all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just thinking that like attention is what I'm supposed to be paying to this conversation right now.
Exactly.
Intention is my goal to learn about Web 3.0.
Right.
So what's a vacation then?
Evocation is about, taking action to achieve that goal.
Okay.
Like reading those articles you sent.
Right.
Refinement is learning from what you read, getting better at understanding these complex concepts.
Okay.
Engagement is applying that knowledge to discussions like this one that we're having right now.
Got it.
And evaluation is taking a step back and saying, okay, how well am I doing? What else do I need to learn?
Wow. When you put it like that, it's pretty impressive how our brains are juggling all of that already.
It is, yeah.
But I guess the spatial web is just going to like crank up the difficulty level a few notches.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And this raises another question.
Okay.
If we're all getting this, mental workout from Web 3.0, could it actually change how we think in the long run?
Interesting.
Yeah, could it lead to new ways of learning, collaborating, even creating?
I love where you're going with this. It's not just about like tech changing our world. It's about tech like changing our minds.
Yeah.
Maybe even like what it means to be human.
Exactly.
And that connects to all the talk about artificial general intelligence, right?
Yes.
Like if AI is learning from all this embodied data in the spatial web, could it develop, its own kind of intelligence?
That's a huge question, and your notes definitely touch on it. Some researchers believe that this influx of data
Okay.
about how we move, how we react,
Mm-hmm.
even our emotional responses,
Yeah.
could be the key to developing an AI that doesn't just think like us,
Okay.
but understands the world
Like really gets it.
the way we do.
Okay, then I'm picturing some super advanced AI in the spatial web.
Yeah.
But instead of just like processing data, it's experiencing the world through my eyes,
Right.
feeling the wind on its, well, whatever it has instead of skin.
Yeah.
Is that getting too sci-fi?
It's definitely pushing the boundaries
Okay.
of what we currently understand, but that's what makes this so fascinating.
Right, yeah.
The potential benefits are enormous. Imagine an AI that truly grasps human needs and desires,
Okay.
working alongside us to solve problems like disease or climate change.
Yeah, but of course there's the flip side. I mean, we've all seen the movies
Yeah.
where the AI becomes self-aware,
Yeah.
decides humans are the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, what's to stop that from happening in the spatial web?
Well, your sources emphasize the importance of decentralization as a safeguard.
Okay.
Blockchain technology could be key here,
Mm-hmm.
distributing the control of AI,
Right.
preventing any one entity from wielding too much power.
So it's like building checks and balances into the system
Exactly, yeah.
from the ground up.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that idea, making sure the power of AI isn't, concentrated in the hands of a few.
Right.
But even if we manage the risks, there's still this question of how we,
Yeah.
make sense of this whole new reality, right?
Right. That's where sense-making comes in.
Sense-making.
How we interpret information and give it meaning within our own individual worldviews.
Okay, so worldview, that's
Yeah.
a whole other can of worms.
Think of it like this. Two people could experience the same event in the spatial web,
Mm-hmm.
but their understanding of it would be shaped by
Yeah.
their beliefs, their values,
Okay.
past experiences.
So it's like everyone's building their own personal map of the spatial web
Yeah.
based on what they choose to focus on and how they interpret what they see.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And that connects to a theory your research mentioned,
Okay.
Clark Graves' emergent cyclical levels of existence.
Okay.
Basically, it suggests that we all go through stages of psychological development,
Okay.
each with a different way of seeing the world.
Right.
These worldviews, they influence how we, interact with information and
Okay.
make decisions.
Okay, so it's not just about like learning new tech skills. It's about being aware of like our own biases,
Absolutely.
how we like filter information,
Yeah,
and how that shapes our experience in the spatial web.
absolutely. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Could the spatial web itself be a tool for greater self-awareness?
Interesting.
Imagine a world where we can visualize these different worldviews,
Okay.
see how they, clash and converge,
Right.
maybe even find ways to bridge those divides.
That's a really hopeful way to look at it.
It is.
In sort of like just another tech upgrade. It's like a mirror reflecting back
Yeah,
who we are,
Yeah.
both individually and as a society.
exactly.
But I think it's time to bring all this back to our listener
Sure.
and figure out what it actually means for them.
Okay.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
I mean, digital twins, remote surgery, AI that can like feel the wind,
Yeah.
brains getting tricked by virtual reality.
Right.
It's a lot to process.
It is. Yeah. But I mean, there are some really clear takeaways
Okay.
from all this research
Yeah.
you set in. One of the biggest is that this isn't,
Mm-hmm.
just about tech evolving.
Right.
It's about us.
Oh, that's
Right,
interesting.
right.
I'm thinking back to that idea of embodied intelligence.
Right.
We're so used to the internet being this disembodied thing,
Mhm.
just information on a screen, but Web 3.0 is asking us to show up
Yeah.
with our whole selves, senses and all.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where those 6 cognitive domains we talked about become so important. Attention, intention, all
Mhm.
of those. I mean, we're we're going to have to be a lot more intentional
Right.
about how we interact with information.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll just be swept away
Right. You'll drown.
by the sheer volume of it all.
You'll drown in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we need to level up our mental fitness
Yeah.
to keep up with Web 3.0.
Mental fitness. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it this way. If you suddenly had to run a marathon,
Right.
you wouldn't just like lace up your sneakers and go. You'd need to train.
Right. You need to train.
Build up your endurance.
Build up your endurance. Yeah.
It's the same with our brains.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
Yeah. And this training ground
Okay.
is what makes Web 3.0 so fascinating. It's not just about consuming information. It's about
Yeah.
using it to reshape our own capability.
Yeah. That reminds me of something you said earlier about the potential for human-machine collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
What if AI trained on all this embodied data could actually help us
Yeah.
become, better thinkers, better learners?
There's a lot of research being done on that very topic.
Wow.
Some are even calling it co-intelligence.
Co-intelligence. Okay.
The idea that humans and AI can work together to enhance each other's strengths.
Okay, now I'm imagining like wearing my AR glasses
Mm-hmm.
and having an AI assistant
Mm-hmm.
that's not just like reminding me about appointments, but
Yeah.
helping me like process information more efficiently.
Right.
Maybe even like suggesting new ways to look at a problem.
And imagine that AI assistant
Mm-hmm.
having access to the vast knowledge base of
Yeah.
the internet,
Mm-hmm.
but also understanding your individual learning style, your emotional state, and adapting its guidance
Okay.
accordingly.
That could be revolutionary for education, for creative work.
Yeah.
Even for like therapy.
Absolutely.
I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless, but
They are.
I can't help but circle back to that question of consciousness.
Yeah.
If AI is getting so good at mimicking human thought and even feeling, I mean, where does that leave us?
Yeah.
What makes us uniquely human in a world where the lines are blurring?
That's a question that will likely stay with us
Yeah.
as Web 3.0 unfolds. There are no easy answers.
Right.
But it invites us to think critically about what truly defines our humanity. Is it our capacity for empathy, our creativity, our ability to form meaningful connections.
It's almost like Web 3.0 is holding up a mirror
Yeah,
to humanity,
to ourselves.
forcing us to confront these questions head on. And as we navigate this new landscape, I think it's important to remember
Yeah,
that the future isn't predetermined. It's being shaped by the choices we make today.
exactly. Yeah, the development of Web 3.0 is a collaborative effort.
Hmm.
It's up to all of us,
Right.
developers, policymakers, everyday users,
Yeah.
to ensure that this technology is used to
Yeah.
create a more equitable, sustainable, and fulfilling future.
So to our listener
Yeah.
who dove deep with us into this incredible world of Web 3.0, stay curious,
Stay curious, yeah.
stay
Stay
engaged, and
engaged.
keep asking us tough questions.
Yeah, the future of the internet, and maybe even the future of consciousness itself,
Right.
is unfolding right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a role to play in shaping it.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time on the Beat Dive. 6TA8.